Welcome to the Communication module for CDEC 1317 CDA Training 1. This module covers Functional Area 6 of the Child Development Associate Credential, one of the most exciting and important areas you'll study. Communication is at the heart of everything we do with young children. Whether you're singing a song, reading a story, or just chatting during snack time, you are building children's language and literacy skills every day. Let's get into it. Here's a look at what we'll cover in this presentation. We'll start by defining communication and why it matters. Then we'll follow the path of language development from infancy through preschool. We'll look at the foundational skills children need to become readers and writers, things like phonological awareness, print concepts, and alphabet knowledge. We'll also talk about how to set up your classroom environment to support literacy, how to support children who are learning English as a second language, and how to partner with families. What is communication? This might seem like a simple question, but let's think about it together. So, what exactly is communication? It's so much more than just talking. Communication includes everything we do to share our thoughts and feelings with others. Words, of course, but also facial expressions, gestures, drawings, and even sign language. Think about a baby who reaches up toward you. That's communication. A toddler who shakes their head no. That's communication too. As children grow, they build skills in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. All of these are interconnected. They build on each other. And this whole process of emerging skills is what we call emergent literacy. Here is a great quote from researcher Renee Zangel. The environment you create and the interactions you have with children directly shape how they learn to communicate. You are not just a caregiver. You are a language teacher every moment of the day. Research backs this up. Children learn language through real, back-and-forth conversations with caring adults. Screen time and electronic gadgets simply cannot replace that. And Vygotsky, a major theorist in early childhood education, reminds us that language and thinking are deeply connected. When children talk, they are actually developing their ability to think and understand the world. Section 2 is about language development by age. Let's look at how language unfolds from birth through the preschool years. It might surprise you to know that language development starts at birth or even before. Newborns come into the world already tuned in to human voices. In fact, babies are born with the ability to hear every sound in every language on earth. That is amazing. Over the first year, they narrow their focus to the sounds they hear most often in their home language, and they begin babbling using those sounds. They're also having their first conversations. You smile and coo, they coo back. That back and forth, that serve and return, is the foundation of communication. So when you read to a baby, sing with them, or just talk to them during a diaper change, you are doing incredibly important language building work. Toddler years are an explosion of language. Children are like little sponges, absorbing everything they hear. Those first words are so exciting. Usually around 12 months, children say their first real word. Then between 18 and 24 months, something magical happens. They start putting two words together. More milk, big dog. These little sentences are a huge developmental milestone. One important thing to know is that toddlers understand far more than they can say. Their receptive language, or what they understand, is way ahead of their expressive language, or what they can actually say. So keep talking, singing, and reading, even if they're not saying much back yet. By the preschool years, children have become impressive communicators. They can tell you what they dreamed about, argue about whose turn it is, ask you why about everything, and I mean everything. Research tells us that children in language-rich environments know about 2,000 words by age 4. Now, here's something important to know. There are big differences in vocabulary between children who have had lots of rich language experiences and those who haven't. This gap often starts in the preschool years and can affect reading comprehension all the way into upper elementary school. That's why what you do in your learning environment matters so much. Section 3, building language skills. Now let's look at the two main types of language skills children are developing. Language breaks down into two big categories, receptive language and expressive language. Receptive language is about understanding. It's what children take in when they listen and observe. Expressive language is about communicating outward, what children say, sign, or write. Here's the key thing to remember. Receptive language always leads. Children understand far more than they can express, especially in the early years. So when you're talking with a young child who isn't talking much yet, don't assume they don't understand you. They're taking in everything. Keep talking to them, reading to them, and giving them lots of language to soak up. Supporting oral language isn't about just talking to children, it's about talking with them. This is a really important distinction. One of the most powerful things you can do is to have extended conversations that go beyond what's happening right now. When you talk to a child about the field trip you took last week, or ask them what they think will happen at the end of a story, you're building the kind of language that directly supports reading comprehension later on. Research from Harvard's homeschool study found that the number of complex conversations children have with adults at both home and school is strongly connected to their later success in reading. You have real power in this area. Section 4, phonological awareness. This is one of the most important concepts in early literacy, and it's sometimes the one that confuses people. Let's break it down clearly. Phonological awareness is all about sounds, and it's purely about listening and speaking, not the letters. It is the ability to notice, think about, and work with the sounds in spoken language. Within that bigger category is phonemic awareness, knowing that words are made up of individual sounds called phonemes. For example, the word cat has 3 phonemes: k, a, t. Make sure that you are isolating the individual sounds so that the children can hear them. Why does this matter? Because research consistently shows that phonological awareness is one of the strongest predictors of a child's ability to learn to read. When children can hear and play with the sounds and words, learning letter-sound relationships later makes a lot more sense to them. The National Early Literacy Panel identified 4 key phonological skills that support reading development. First is rhyming. Can a child recognize and or produce words that sound alike? Second is alliteration. Can they hear that several words start with the same sound? Third is sentence segmenting. Can they clap along to individual words in a sentence? And fourth is syllable segmenting. Can they tap out the chunks in a word like da, fa, dil? The good news is all of these skills can be built through songs, finger plays, rhyming books, and playful games. You don't need special materials. You just need to weave these activities into your day. Section 5, emergent reading and writing. Children's journeys toward reading and writing start much earlier than most people think, and it all begins in your learning environment. 2 of the strongest predictors of reading success are print concepts and alphabet knowledge. Print concepts are the foundational understandings that children need before they can read. Things like knowing that the words on the page say something, that we read from left to right and top to bottom, and that words have spaces between them. These might seem obvious to us, but children have to learn them. Alphabet knowledge is knowing the names of letters and the sounds they make. When a child points to the M on a McDonald's sign and says, "That's an M like my name, Mia," that's alphabet knowledge in action. Environmental print all around your classroom is a powerful tool for building both of these skills. Children don't just wake up one day and know how to write. Writing develops in stages, just like all other skills. It starts with an infant smearing paint or scribbling with a crayon. They're discovering cause and effect. I move my hand and a mark appears. Over time, those scribbles become more controlled. Shapes will start to appear, then letter-like symbols, and then actual letters, usually starting with the letters in their own name. By pre-K, many children are using invented spelling. This is actually a sign of great phonemic awareness. We want to celebrate all of these stages, not correct them. When we accept a child's early writing attempts, we build their confidence as a writer. Here is something really important. Learning to read actually starts in infancy, not in kindergarten or first grade. Every time you hold a baby on your lap and read a board book, you're building reading foundations. Every time you point to the word while you read it, you're teaching print concepts. Every new word you introduce in conversation is vocabulary that will help a child understand what they read years from now. Research tells us that gaps in vocabulary between children who have had rich language experiences and those who haven't show up as early as preschool and carry all the way through school. You can make a real difference. Read aloud every single day and make it interactive. Ask questions, make it fun, help them make connections. Section 6, Creating a Literacy Environment. Your physical classroom is a powerful teaching tool. Let's talk about how to set it up to support language and literacy. Your literacy center is home base for language and literacy in your learning environment. The library area should be inviting, soft, comfortable, and full of books that children actually want to read. One important tip, display books with their covers facing out rather than the side or the spines out. Young children recognize books by their covers, so this makes a huge difference in whether they actually pick up a book. Your writing area should have lots of different tools and surfaces to write on. The more variety, the better. And make writing feel meaningful and purposeful. Children are much more motivated to write when there's a real reason, like writing a card to a friend or making a sign for their block building. Here's a mindset shift that can transform your learning environment. Literacy doesn't live only in the literacy center. Print and writing materials belong everywhere. When you put a notepad and pen in the dramatic play kitchen, children can write grocery lists. When you add blueprints to the block center, they can study them and create their own. When there's a clipboard and an observation journal in the science center, children can record what they see. This is what we call functional print. Print that serves a real purpose in children's lives. When children see that reading and writing are useful tools for getting things done, they are much more motivated to learn them. Choosing books intentionally is an important part of your job as an early childhood educator. Think about more than just what's cute or popular. Are your books representative of the children and their families? Are there books that reflect different family structures, different cultures, different abilities? Research consistently shows that children engage more deeply with books where they can see themselves. Beyond representation, think about variety. Poetry and rhyming books build phonological awareness. Nonfiction books build vocabulary and world knowledge. Repetitive books invite children to join in and predict what comes next. And don't underestimate books made by the children themselves. Those are often the most loved books in the classroom. Section 7, supporting dual language learners. Many of the children in your care may be growing up in homes where English is not the primary language. This is a strength, and it comes with some specific considerations for you as their teacher. Let's talk about dual language learners, children who are growing up with more than one language. In many early childhood settings, especially here in Texas, you may have a significant number of children who speak Spanish or another language at home. First, and most importantly, being bilingual or multilingual is a gift. It is a cognitive advantage. Our job is to support it, not try to replace the home language with English. One thing many teachers misunderstand is the silent period. When a dual language learner first enters your setting, they may not speak English for weeks or even months. This is completely normal and developmentally appropriate. They are taking it all in. It typically takes between 5 and 7 years for children to become completely bilingual. Use lots of visuals, gestures, and repetition. Learn even a few words in the child's home language. It sends a powerful message that their language matters here. Section 8, partnering with families. Parents and caregivers are a child's first and most important language teachers. Let's talk about how to build that partnership. Families are your most important partners when it comes to supporting children's language development. The conversations that happen at home, the books read at bedtime, the songs sung in the car, all of these matter enormously. Your job is to help families understand this and give them practical, easy-to-use strategies. You don't need to make families feel like they're doing something wrong. Frame it positively. Share what you're doing in the classroom and invite them to continue it at home. Encourage families to talk with their children about their day, visit the library, and read together every night. And remind the families who speak a language other than English that reading and speaking in their home language is incredibly valuable for their child's development. Section 9, the teacher's role. Everything we've covered comes together in the choices that you make every day. Let's pull it all together. Great communication teachers are intentional about language every single minute. You read aloud with expression and enthusiasm. You introduce interesting words. Instead of just saying big, you say enormous or gigantic. You get down on a child's level and have real conversations, listening as much as you speak. You write things down in front of children and point to what you're writing. You hang children's words on the wall. You celebrate the scribbles and the invented spelling and the child who just used a word they heard in a book. And you observe. Really watch and listen to the children in your care, so you know where each child is in their development and what they need next. Read alouds are one of the most powerful tools in your teaching toolkit, but only when they're done well. Before you open the book, build some excitement. What do they notice on the cover? What do they think will happen? During the reading, slow down. Point to the words. Use your voice to bring characters to life. If a child wanders, try inserting their name into the story. And then Jaden walked into the forest. It immediately recaptures their attention. After the story, don't just close the book and move on. Give the children a chance to process. Retell it, draw something, act it out. These after-reading activities are where a lot of the language and comprehension learning actually happens. Let's take a moment to pull everything together. Communication is at the heart of the CDA credential and at the heart of high-quality early childhood education. You are not just keeping the children safe and happy. You are their language teacher, their literacy model, and one of the most important people in their developing lives. Every word you say, Every book you read, every time you get down on the floor and have a real conversation with a child, you are building their future. That is remarkable work. Thank you for doing that. And we'll close with a reflection question. Think about one child in your care right now. Based on what you've learned during the slide presentation, what is one strategy you could try this week to support their language and literacy development? Maybe it's adding a writing center to your dramatic play area. Maybe it's having a longer conversation during snack time tomorrow. Maybe it's finding a book that reflects a child's family or culture. Whatever it is, try one thing. Small, intentional steps make a big difference. Thank you so much for your time and dedication to young children.